Today, the market is on fire, friends. There is a lot going on in our local real estate market. And buyers and sellers always want to know, what's the market like? Are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? What is going on? So today, I'm going to answer a very good question that people ask me all the time. What is the difference and how do you determine a buyer's market and a seller's market? And why does it mean so much to me when I'm actually out looking at properties or selling a property? It's a lot of information to know, and I'm going to get started right now. Hey everyone, my name is Jamey Prezzi. I'm a real estate agent in Miami and Miami Beach, and today I'm going to talk to you about why it's so important to know if you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, and how you can negotiate better by knowing what market you're in. But first, before I get started, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another update. I do put out new videos every single week. Also, use the link in my information box and download my free PDF about buyer and seller markets so you have a little bit more information about what to know today. Okay, let's get started. So I think the first thing that's really important to know is, how do we determine if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market? We do that by calculating how many properties are on the market today, and then we divide it by how many properties have recently sold. Now, if we're trying to be very hyper-local, which we definitely have to be very hyper-local in our market because our condominium markets are different than our single-family home markets, our luxury markets are different than our starter price point markets. So we have to be very hyper-local with the neighborhood that you're interested in, and from there we determine what the market is like in that neighborhood, and then we determine if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. I did one analysis last week for some buyers, and that market is a heavy seller's market because there's only 2 months of inventory. So basically, if you have about 5 to 7 months of inventory, that means we're in a neutral market. Not a buyer's market, not a seller's market, just a regular neutral market. If we have under 5 months of inventory, that's a seller's market. And if we have over 7 months of inventory, that's a buyer's market. So buyer's market, buyers have more inventory to choose from. Sellers have to be a lot more aggressive with the pricing because they have a lot of other properties that they're also competing with, as other sellers have also put their property on the market. There's just a lot of inventory. So often sellers have to be very aggressive on their pricing in order to get a property sold. When you're in a seller's market and you are a buyer, there's going to be a lot less inventory for you to choose from, and you will most likely have to be a lot more competitive in your offers, and sellers can be a little bit more aggressive with their pricing because they know that there's a lot of buyers and not a lot of inventory. Supply and demand, that's all it is. This is so important to know because it will definitely determine the type of negotiating power that we have, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. Also, if you are in a heavy buyer's market and you're a seller, if you have a buyer come around and make an offer on your property, it's very important to take that offer into consideration because there are a lot more other properties on the market that buyers can choose from. When you're a buyer, you need to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of making offers and in terms of getting out and looking at properties. If you're in a buyer's market and you don't have time to look at the property as soon as it hits the market, there's a good chance it'll still be around on the weekend when you actually do have time to go look at it. When you're in a seller's market and a property hits the market, you need to be on that property as soon as you can get access, especially if it's a property that you're very interested in, because if you wait until the weekend, there's a pretty good chance that that property will be gone. So you can see how this is very important to understand the type of market you're in. One thing to know is that our area where we work, and we work from South Miami into Broward, our markets are very hyper-local. So we can have one market over here that is a very deep buyer's market, and we can have another market here that is a very deep seller's market. So it really depends on that neighborhood, the type of property that you're interested in buying or selling, and obviously the market today. There's a lot to know about our local market, and our goal is to always best position our buyers and sellers in the highest, best position possible so that we can complete a very successful transaction and make you very happy. If you have more questions, we're always here to be a resource for you, and I will see you soon.